Hello there, Ade Owolabi here again. So today I just want to look at, I want us to look at some myths and unrealistic expectations in marriage. And these things sound simple, but they can be very, very detrimental to any marriage, anywhere in the world. Right? So let's go. Let's see how much we can cover in this video. Number one, unrealistic expectations or myth. My marriage will make me happy. Once I get married, I will just be happy. It's interesting to know that even studies show that a key predictor of happiness in marriage is happiness before marriage. So you don't wait for marriage to be happy. You don't hang all the entire responsibility of your happiness on your husband or your wife. That is suicide mission. So marriage will not necessarily make you happy. But this is interesting. While marriage will not necessarily make you happy, marriage can enhance your happiness. So studies also show that people who are in a healthy relationship or marriage have, they are happier than others, right? So note, while marriage will not necessarily make you happy, it can enhance the happiness you already have. Does that make sense? Right, so that's myth number one. My marriage will make me happy. Number two on my list is that marriage will cure sexual temptation. The reason why you're up and down with guys or with ladies sexually is because you're not married. And once you get married, you'll be responsible, you'll be faithful, you'll be, that's not true. So married people also face sexual temptations. It's not just for single people. So that also means that sexual discipline is not only for those who are not married. It's also important for those who are married to understand that they need to be disciplined sexually. So the fact that you are married does not mean you will never face sexual temptation. In fact, sometimes it might be more, right? So let's not deceive ourselves. Marriage is not a cure for sexual temptation. You will still be tested. As long as you are a human being, you will still be tempted, right? So that's myth and unrealistic expectation number two. My number three on my list is if I marry the will of God for me, the marriage will work. If I marry God's will for me, my marriage will work. What a fallacy. Let me make it a bit complicated for you, or maybe simpler for you. If God came down as a human being and connects you to the man or woman He has destined for you, if there's anything like that, or willed for you, and He joins you together in holy matrimony, it is still not a guarantee that that marriage will work. That is how complicated we can be as human beings. So the fact that you did hear God, God told you Bolaji is your husband, God told you Veronica is your wife, and now you are both married, as Christians, as believers, it's not a guarantee that that marriage will work. If you don't put in the work that's required, right? So you need to know that the fact that you're married or you're married to God's will is not a guarantee that your marriage will work. So you can marry God's will, the person that God has ordained for you, given to you, so to speak, it's not a guarantee that all will go well, right? So you have to be on guard. That's not a guarantee, right? That's number three. Number four, we do say, well, I hear this a lot, that one of the purposes of marriage is companionship. So I'm wondering, so those who never get married will never have companions? I don't understand. Anyway, so people marry expecting, looking for companionship. And I can tell you that there are so many married people who are the loneliest people. So you see, if you have a loneliness problem, marriage is not your medication. That's the point I'm trying to make. So you can be married and lonely. You can be married and lonely. So what is my advice? Don't wait for marriage to find out who you truly are, to live your life as you really should live it, okay? Because marriage will not necessarily cure loneliness. So if you are listening to me and you are a lonely person, that is a serious personal problem. It's not a marital problem at all. All right, you probably need therapy. You need to speak to somebody, right? Let's dig deep into that, because marriage will not necessarily cure loneliness problem. Number five on my list, I will be fine once I get married. I will be fine, all will be well once I get married. Again, let me add that marriage is not your life medication. All right? So some people think that the reason why things are not going well with me, the reason why I'm facing all of these ups and downs is just because I'm still unmarried, I'm still single. But by the time I get married, I know all will be well. The fact that you're married does not mean all will be well. Not necessarily. You will still have to deal with issues, ups and downs of life, all of these things. That's life, man. That's life. Whether you are married or not, you will have to deal with high moments and low moments as long as you are a human being on this earth. All right. So let's put marriage where it should be, and let's stop putting marriage where it shouldn't be. That's number 6. Myth number. Oh, that was number 5, right? That was number 5. Now, number 6. The fact that I am stronger in my spouse's area of weakness or weaknesses does not make me more righteous than my spouse. Because sometimes when we are stronger, where someone else is struggling, we tend to be more righteous. We judge, we blame. Can you imagine how could you have done that? How could she have done that? And he or she claims to be a Christian, So we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, but the fact that you are stronger in your spouse's area of weakness or weaknesses does not necessarily mean you are more righteous than your spouse, right? And before God, sin is sin. Whether it's fornication, whether it's adultery, whether it's stealing, whether it's manipulation, whether it's deception, whether it's whatever, even uncontrolled anger is a sin, right? So we are the ones who compartmentalize these sins. Mine is simpler, yours is worse. The God that we serve does not discriminate. Sin is sin, and He wants to work with you to make you far better than you are right now. That's the goal, right? But for you to blame or judge your spouse for being weak where you are strong, man, that's self-deception, right? We all are work in progress. Okay, now number 7. Some people see marriage as a transaction. Scratch my back and I scratch your back. If you do this for me, I'll do that for you. But guess what? The landlord of marriage did not create marriage to be a transactional platform as his way. Marriage is a covenant where we both come into it to play our part. And you know something? My playing my part should not be a reason why you should or should not play your part. Because we all will stand before the judgment seat of God to give an account of how we live our lives, right? So I cannot stand before God mentioning my wife. If my wife had loved me more, I would have been a better husband. If my wife had respected me more, I would have been more amazing. If my wife had done blah, blah, blah for me, I would have done blah, blah, blah for her, right? That's not going to happen. So when that day comes, we will all answer our names. We will not be calling someone else's name. I hope that makes sense, right? So marriage is not a transaction platform. It's a covenant platform where we come into and play our part. And the amazing thing, as you commit to playing your part, as you commit to honoring your vows, you have a higher chance of influencing your spouse to do the same, right? But if you keep wallowing in this cycle of do me, I do you, man no go vex, I don't know where we got that from, right? Not scriptural, not ideal, but that's what people do. And that's why they have a chaotic marriage, right? So that's not the way to go. Number 8. People often quote the scripture, Amos 3:3, can two walk together except they be agreed? So people enter marriage thinking, my spouse must agree with me on everything. Lies, another fallacy. Who told you that the fact they are married to a great guy, great lady, means she would agree with you on every matter? Not necessarily, except you want to deceive yourself. And if you have always believed that and you're married now, how is that working out for you? Right, good. So the Bible does say that can two of us be agreed, but the idea is that even in our disagreements, even in our variant or opposing opinion, we are committed to working together as a team in this marriage. That's the idea. And from time to time, we may not necessarily agree on a number of matters, right? But you must know that God made us different for a reason. And differences are supposed to be an advantage for a marriage, not necessarily a disadvantage. But if you allow the enemy, if you are not knowledgeable, if you are not wise, every disagreement or disparity of opinion will become a big impediment to your marriage. It doesn't have to be that way, right? So let's be mature, let's be sensible. The fact that you are married to somebody does not mean he or she owes you to agree with you on every matter, okay? Right. That should be number 8. Number 9, 2 more to go, right? Number 9. Headship in marriage means boss. Guys, you need to listen. The fact that you are the head of that family does not make you the boss in that family. And I said this in my previous videos, the house called marriage, right? Marriage is like a house. God is the landlord, the man is the tenant, the woman is the tenant, right? And the man is the head in that marriage, but not the boss. The boss is the landlord. You are not the landlord. So guys, please calm down. Your wife has an opinion, she has the right to her opinion, and you cannot manipulate her or force her because she's your wife to do anything you desire or anything you want. You can't do that. You can't do that. This is my thinking. One of the most important things that any human being has ever done in this life is to die for every other human being. And it was Jesus who did that. Do you know that God did not force Jesus to die? It was God's idea that Jesus should die. But Jesus had a choice either to die or not. He chose to die. Somewhere in the Bible, Jesus speaking, he said, "No one took my life from me. I have power to lay it down and power to take it again." So God did not force Jesus to die. It was God's idea that Jesus should die. But it was Jesus' opinion or choice to die, right? So, man listening to me, the fact that you are the head in that family or that marriage does not make you the boss. And you are not in a position to force or manipulate your wife to do your bidding. But if you're a great leader, if you're a good leader, trust me, she would want to really, really do what you want a lot of times. That was number 9. And finally, on this note, a difficult marriage is an impossible marriage. That's what many people believe. The fact that you're in a difficult marriage does not mean you're in an impossible marriage. It's just a difficult marriage. All right? I want you to know that if you are listening to me and you are in a difficult marriage right now, it is not a spell to doom. It is not a doom situation. Your marriage can work if you embrace counsel, if you embrace godly wisdom, if you are patient and you obey what the Lord is asking or leading you to do. Trust me, it's going to work out. It's going to work out. And worst case scenario, what if I do everything God has asked me to do and it still doesn't work out? Well, that's a worst case scenario. If that is the situation, trust me, obey God anyways. Follow through the what God has told you to do. If that marriage still fails, trust me, God will sort you out. You will have no regrets. No regrets. All right, that's 10 myths and unrealistic expectations that people have where marriage is concerned. I hope that helps. My name is Ade Owolabi. I'll come again next time to share more value with you. Thank you for listening.